Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to present to you a short poem by Emily Dickinson. And this poem, as I say, is quite short. The message of the poem is also quite simple, but there may be a few vocabulary words that might cause you to trip as you read it the first time. So, learning a few vocabulary words will make a very big difference in your understanding this short poem when you read it. So let's take a look at a few vocabulary words right away, and then I jump right into the poem. A frigate is a ship, and a courser is a horse. So in the poem, reading a book or reading a poem is being compared to riding on a ship that can take you far away, or riding on a horse that can take you long distance somewhere. Prancing refers to when a horse moves with a kind of spring step from its back feet. And it can also mean like a strutting way of walking, just kind of a proud and fancy walking style. To traverse in ordinary English today is a verb, and that means like to cross. If you traverse the mountain range, you cross the mountains, right? But in this poem, it's used in a noun form to mean travel or a trip. That's somewhat unusual. You don't usually see it that way today. But when you see it in this poem, you'll understand this traverse means this travel, this trip. Frugal means cheap, or basically just inexpensive. So the point is, reading is a relatively cheap way to broaden your view of the world. So, as you may have guessed from the few things that I said, discussing the vocabulary, this poem is a sort of praise of reading. The poems of Emily Dickinson often did not have titles when she wrote them, so they're typically known by their first line. So this one is known as "There is no frigate like a book." So, looking at the poem line by line, there is no frigate like a book to take us lands away. There is no ship as great as a book for helping us go to faraway places. Nor any coursers like a page of prancing poetry. There are no horses that are as great as a page of poetry which moves with a kind of springing and fancy step. This traverse may the poorest take without oppress of toll. So the poorest people can take this kind of trip without having to pay money for the trip, without an oppressive toll, a cost. How frugal is the chariot that bears a human soul. This is a very inexpensive kind of chariot that's like a cart for traveling that can carry a human soul, you and your mind, to other places and to commune with the mind of a writer. Okay? So we're seeing a lot of simile here of one thing being compared to another, a book being compared to a frigate, a page of poetry being compared to a horse, and hopefully the message is pretty clear. When you read, you get to have the experience of traveling to distant places in your mind. Of course, not literally or physically traveling around the world. You get to experience the thrilling travel experience without having to pay a lot of money. So it's a kind of great equalizer. So long as you can learn to read, all of us can have this kind of enriching, world-expanding experience. That's what the poem tells us. I'll read it through one more time, and then I'll simply ask you for a reaction. There is no frigate like a book to take us lands away, nor any coursers like a page of prancing poetry. This traverse may the poorest take without oppress of toll. How frugal is the chariot that bears a human soul. There you have it. Emily Dickinson is trying to convince you to read. So I'd like to hear your reaction, and then I will join you again one more time tomorrow with a new poem. Have a good day.